Hello friends, I'm Marty Benson and I'm about to cook a bacon cheeseburger in bacon grease in a cast iron skillet in my van. Now this recipe will not lower your blood pressure and it will not land you a date with that cutie that you met at the PETA rally. But it's super easy and it's freaking delicious. Hello friends, I'm Marty Benson. I've been living in vans for 3.5 years, both of which are DIY vans that I converted from cargo vans to campers myself. I've also worked in a high-end van conversion shop for several months. And with 4 kitchen appliances run off the off-grid solar electric system that I have installed in my van, I can make pretty much any dish that you can make in a brick and mortar #houselife kitchen. What's unusual about cooking in my van is that I do it in a very confined space with limited tools, and I try to create as little waste and as few dirty dishes as possible. The good news for you brick and mortar dwellers out there is that you don't need to live in a van to do this. You too can make a cheeseburger, even though you live in a building.
I live in a van! I live in a van! I'm staying up late night making burgers with ham! If you follow me on Instagram, you know that I love the Instant Pot and the air fryer lid that I have for it. Coupled with the Instant Pot, the air fryer, and the induction cooktop, I can make pretty much anything in the van that you can make in a conventional kitchen with the electrical power that's provided by my solar panels. Being that this is the first episode of this, I'm not going to use the Instant Pot. I'm going to make something that's insanely easy because this is my first foray into trying to make a cooking show. I'm going to make bacon cheeseburgers on my cast iron skillets. And I'm going to try to tailor these things so that you get a little bit of information about how it is to cook in the van. You know who the best cook in the world is? Not this guy. But I do make better food than anybody else who lives in this van currently. Just to give you an example of something that I find super important when in the van is tortilla bags. These guys are like Ziplocs that you don't have to pay for. I eat a whole bunch of tortillas and these bags will last me a few uses. I sort of downgrade them as I go. When one is pretty new, it's just an X tortilla bag. I'll put my cheese in it because that's super important to keep safe. When it's sort of starting to wear out, I'll put things like bacon in it because what I'm really trying to do is protect the refrigerator from the bacon. The bacon's gonna get like 500 degrees before I eat it, so if there's some sort of contamination in here, it's probably not the end of the world. But we're just rolling the dice. I'm not a chef and I'm not a scientist either. So we're just gonna start by frying some bacon. Very simple. I'm gonna turn on the cast iron skillet and get to frying. Ooh, thick and fatty, bacon, bacon. Alrighty, the bacon is frying and you can see the brubs taking a nap over there. What I'm gonna do now is improvise sort of with what I have. I'm gonna make a sort of burger sauce. I'm gonna mix some mayonnaise together with some curry ketchup that's left over from Bangers and Brews, which is a wonderful restaurant in Bend, Oregon. I'm gonna put some Worcestershire sauce in there, probably some spices, and then I'm going to cut up some purple cabbage, because that's what's in the van, to put on the burgers. If you're watching closely, then you've noticed that as the bacon is cooking, the grease from the bacon is sliding down to one side of the skillet. And that is because my parking spot is not level. So, one of the tricks I use is folding one of these hand towels up. Once I figure out where the skillet is not level, I shove this up under the induction cooktop to level it out. Very high tech. Alrighty, the bacon's done. I've set the bacon grease aside. I'm gonna make the burgers in that in just a minute. But first, it is time to over butter and fry these brioche buns. Toast, fry, call it what you will. It's in a skillet and it's got a bunch of grease on it. Okay, while those buns are getting their crispy on, I just want to rave about cast iron skillets. I swear by my cast iron skillets. I bought them probably 10 years ago. Both of them together, I bought them at the outlet, probably cost me $35 or something like that. You can use metal on them and beat the hell out of them. You can use your knife on them. I have a knife sharpener in the van that I keep on board so that I can go to town on stuff on the skillet. And the thing is, if you scratch the skillet, it just allows it to absorb more flavor and more grease and more oil so that it makes it more non-stick. They're basically the best non-stick pans that you can get without having to worry about some coating that's gonna crack or leach into your food or anything like that. Cast iron skillets are my jam. I swear by them. The two that I have fit together like a Dutch oven so that you can almost bake in them. We've made cake in them and stuff. They're amazing. You must get cast iron skillets. The only downside that I can think of to a cast iron skillet is that they're heavy, but we all need to burn calories, especially if we're eating bacon cheeseburgers that were fried in bacon fat. These buns are taking a little bit longer to get their crispy on than I expected, and that's because I want them crispier than you might. You just got to use your own judgment in this. I really prefer the things crispy, but as a swamp-based southerner, what I would tell you is use plenty of butter. So I'm using my two skillets separately. One of the cool things about that is that they will stay hot for a long time. Maybe that's another downside of a cast iron skillet, is that they do stay hot. They do retain heat for quite a while. But again, that's like one of those downsides that's sort of something that's nominal and you could totally ignore it if you want to, which I choose to do. What I'm gonna do is set the skillet that I fried or toasted the buns in over to the side. It'll stay warm until I'm done with everything else, and that means that my buns will still be warm, my warm buns. So now we're going to pop the ground chuck out of the ground chuck tube, salt and pepper it on both sides, maybe even put a little bit of garlic and onion powder on there, and then we're gonna fry it in bacon fat and I'll put it on the burger. I do not have onion. I do not have tomato to put on the burger afterwards. And so I tried to put as much flavor onto the burger as I could. Now it is time to start up the skillet, get the bacon grease good and hot again, and then we're gonna fry that stuff. All right, it is time to heat the grease back up a little bit. It's probably still pretty hot, but I'm just gonna make sure that it's good and hot before I put it on there. I am now telling the computer exactly what it can do with a lifetime supply of chocolate. While we're waiting, let's cut some trees. Get it, cut the cheese. So I cooked the burger on one side, flipped it over, cooked it for another minute, put cheese on, and then I've put the other skillet on top to sort of keep some of the heat in to help the cheese melt, because I put a lot of cheese, not just your sort of American Crafts single on top. So I'm waiting for that to melt, and then I'm gonna eat this burger. So the GoPro died and you didn't get to watch me eat the burger. That would have been gruesome anyway. Why do we watch each other eat? Why do we go on dates? Like a first date, you're gonna watch somebody eat. Although if you have a hang up about people chewing with their mouths open, which I do, then I guess maybe it's a good opportunity to like nick somebody. It's like, you chew with your mouth open, so kick rocks or whatever. Anyway, I wanted to just let you watch me clean up, because that's a big thing in the van. There's a bunch of stuff that I'm gonna do here that you normally wouldn't necessarily do in a normal kitchen, because for example, when a dish is dirty, just because it's dirty doesn't mean that it's still okay for it to be wet, because it needs to be put away. Sometimes, like my cutting board needs to be put away vertically, and so it can't be dripping burger juices into a cabinet. One of the things I do a lot of times is let my dog pre-clean it. I'll probably do that with that. But also, check this out. Remember I talked about the tortilla bags earlier? Well, here's another thing I'm doing. And if you are a scientist, feel free to call me out on this, because I don't know, maybe there is some sort of alchemy where this bacon that's in this tortilla bag is going to cause some sort of crazy chemical reaction with this ground beef that I'm now putting into the same bag. My theory, again, is that I'm just protecting the refrigerator from the uncooked meat that's in this bag. And if those two things interact with each other a little bit, they touch each other, well, then we're just gonna have some burger tasting bacon or some bacon tasting burger, which is what we just ate. And that was fantastic. So that's a risk that I'm willing to take. As you can see, I didn't want to get a whole bunch of this schmutz that came out of the burger around the van. So I actually kind of used this as a blade or a squeegee to get some of the juices off of here, because maybe all of this stuff isn't great for the brups. Although it might make me have a heart attack tonight, because whatever's in here, I did eat a whole lot of it. Looks like meat snot, doesn't it? Yeah, so everything just sort of gets wiped down. I'm gonna hit my spatula with this meat snot napkin. And then another thing that I a lot of times will do actually is use the backside of the knife blade to scrape some of the schmutz off of my spatula. Because like I said, even if it is dirty and it's headed to be washed next, you still don't want to have a bunch of stuff in the van on all of your bits and pieces. That is a big flavor bomb that you probably don't want to, just kidding. So anyway, that's basically the deal. Buy some cast iron skillets. Lodge Logic makes some good ones. Everybody makes good ones as long as they're not coated in some crap. Everything else is overpriced and unnecessary. That's my 2 cents. If you haven't fried a burger in the grease of the bacon that's going to go on the burger before in a cast iron skillet, I highly recommend it. That was a kick-ass burger. It probably cost me $4 to make it. When I first bit into this burger, I immediately thought, if you charge $15 for this burger, you couldn't make them fast enough. And I made it with crappy ground chuck from some general store out in the forest in Oregon, and mediocre cheese, mediocre everything. And it's all about the way that you prepare stuff.
All right, guys, we did it. We made a cheeseburger. Please let me know in the comments what you'd like for me to make next. I have some ideas. I have some staples that I love to make and some things that I think will be pretty challenging to make in the van, but I want to make what you want me to make. Maybe you live in a van and you want to make something that you used to make when you lived in a house and you haven't figured out how to make it in a van yet. Maybe you live in a house and you just want to learn how to make something new while I scream frenetically from the screen of your computer. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. I'd love it if you hit the like button, maybe subscribe to the channel so that you could see some more videos. And I'm really proud of this podcast that I've been doing for a few years. I have casual conversations with people who are practicing minimal living and its different facets and stuff. It provides me a lot of joy and I've learned a lot from it. And so maybe go listen to some of that. But I digress. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time, eh?
Hey, the brups. What's your favorite part of the meal? Do you love dirty dishes? Are dirty dishes your very favorite? Oh, yes, they are.